Today on The Young and the Restless, Adam and Sally discuss their confusing feelings. Nikki dreams of an old enemy, and Nick, Victor, and Victoria get a shock from Jordan. In the lobby of the athletic club, Adam encounters Nate by the exit. The Newman wonders why no one is at the office and asks if he's seen any of his family. Nate reminds him he no longer works at Newman, and is smug about Adam clearly being kept in the dark by his family. That's not exactly a sign of confidence. Once Nate walks out, Sally comes down the stairs and observes that Adam is not making a lot of friends. Adam is sure Nate hates him even more now that he's lost his job. He assures her that his relationship with his father has never been closer. They sit at the bar and he tells her that he and his father are working on fixing things. He asks if she's been avoiding him since the night they spent together. Sally claims she's just feeling conflicted. He can understand. Neither of them expected that to happen, but he's glad it did because it reminded him of what's there. Adam tells Sally he's not asking her to go backward, but to look at him as he is now. She says that's still a man who nearly used his father's illness to take him down. He sets the bar for his improved behavior pretty low. Adam says the old him would have buried all that instead of coming clean, but she thinks he just keeps dropping standards. He claims he was a victim in this and his father was the biggest liar. Nate turned out to be the one who was willing to betray Victor. Adam can understand what his father did, and he wasn't wrong to think they all had agendas. We're fun, aren't we? He jokes about his family. Even though his father wants them to come back together, that clearly will never happen. They can hardly stand to be in the same room together. The people in his life avoiding him has become a theme. Adam explains he's been going crazy thanks to the way Sally has been avoiding him. Adam wonders if she's thought about what happens next for them. She doesn't know how she feels about this. Even when he's driven her crazy, she hasn't stopped caring about him. It would be a lie to say she didn't feel something, but she also felt she was betraying Nick, even if that doesn't make sense. What's most confusing is that she didn't want to stop when they had sex and doesn't feel regret. Sally says she hasn't been avoiding him, it's just that she doesn't have any answers. Adam's feelings are clear to him. He has longing for her, for them, and the hope that she feels the same. The Newman wants to know if they have a chance. She's been asking the universe, but it has been unresponsive. He suggests the universe is waiting for her to listen to her heart. Recognizing he doesn't have the best track record with relationships, he wants to fight those tendencies and insists what they had meant something. We're just trying to figure out what it was, she says. Adam suggests they have a proper dinner date with no expectations and no talk about longing. Sighing, she agrees. When Sally and Adam get a table, they discuss the launch of her new company. Although she thought things might have been awkward with Nick, he's just stepped back and let her do her thing. When Adam suggests his brother is an honorable man, she wonders if he's being sarcastic. Sally asks if he and his brother will ever get along, and he admits they've had moments that seemed like a breakthrough but they never lasted. He chats about Connor and the new friends he's been making. It's shocking how normal he's wound up being. There was a time when he worried he'd inherited the worst parts of him. Things get uncomfortable as he talks about how kids change you. He apologizes for being insensitive. Sally suggests they take a rain check on this dinner. Tonight she needs to be alone. He's given her a lot to think about and she needs to go through it. She tells him not to walk her to the door because it leads to trouble, but she can handle him accompanying her to the stairs. Once they get there, she thanks him for the evening. They agree to a real date soon. Sally can see he's trying to be better and kisses him. Nate and Audra catch up at Crimson Lights. As he doctors his coffee, he explains that the Newmans cut him loose and recounts how Victor played everyone to trick his children into exposing themselves. When Nate suggested that he seek private treatment, Victor assumed he was trying to lock him away as part of a power play. You walked right into that one, didn't you? Audra says. He can understand Victor's position but insists he was genuinely concerned. She's sure he's telling himself that but equally sure he was making a play and Victor shot him down. Nate vows that it wasn't betrayal and he was just a scapegoat. He assumes they all wanted him to fail. With Victoria, that's a little more complicated. This has left him furious. Audra wonders if he's furious enough to want to get back at them. He's angry but not stupid enough to go after Victor, so he'll just have to swallow his pride and move on. Smiling, Audra says she may be making a move too. There are some potential opportunities for her to consider. Once things are concrete, she could make him an offer. He'd listen to that. She makes it clear she likes to be surrounded by colleagues willing to do anything necessary. Nate doubts he's as ruthless as she thinks. Keep telling yourself that, she says, patting his shoulder and walking out. Nikki wakes up at the lake house and groans that she has to get herself out of there. Clinging to the bed, she tries to stand but can't and crawls back into the bed in tears. As she cradles her pillow, she finds a photo. Eve, she wonders. Downstairs, Cole calls Victoria on his phone and tells her that he's looking for her and seems to be in the house of someone he doesn't know. Aunt Jordan pops up and bangs him on the head with a hammer. He hits the floor. Jordan heads upstairs and checks on Nikki, who can hardly see. She asks what she wants. Jordan tells her to stay calm and stay hydrated. She should have pulled that IV out. She assures Nikki her family will arrive soon, but she needs to rest for now. Gasping, Nikki says she did this to her, but Jordan says she did this to herself. Your whole family did this to you, she says. After Nikki falls back to sleep, she dreams about Eve Howard confronting her over Victor. Claire arrives downstairs with Victoria, Victor, and Nick. She calls for her aunt, but there is no response. She offers them water and hands them each a bottle, assuring them Nikki will be fine. Jordan steps down the stairs and welcomes them, explaining Nikki is still at the hospital and will be fine. Visiting hours are over. They'll let me in, Victor says. He's determined to see his wife, so she asks Claire to call a car service. Sitting down, Victoria asks what happened with Nikki. Rubbing the cast on her arm, Jordan explains they were having a lovely dinner, but over the course of the meal, something changed. Nikki began rambling and acted like she'd been drinking. Nick says she's a recovering alcoholic. Jordan suggested that Nikki stay the night since she wasn't well. However, Nikki was insistent about leaving and then had a seizure and collapsed, so she called 911. She was treated and stabilized quickly. Victor appreciates all her help, and Jordan says that she felt like she knew Nikki the moment she met her. Suddenly changing her tone, Jordan suggests they all relax because there won't be a car. There won't be a hospital either. Nick is perplexed. Jordan dumps her cast and stands up, declaring it's time for the truth. Nick threatens to call the police, and Victoria wonders if they are supposed to be frightened of her. Jordan tells them to shut up and listen if they want to see Nikki again. She asks Victor if she looks familiar to him. He's never seen her. She tells him he knew her sister intimately, Eve Howard. Sitting back, he lets out a little laugh. Jordan tells him he broke her heart and he dumped her like she wasn't human. Now she's waiting for them to make amends. Victor assumes this is a scam and tells her that Eve was deeply disturbed, but never mentioned her sister. Jordan explains they were estranged and Eve died. If she'd never moved to Genoa City, they could have reconciled. Not giving a damn about any of this, Victor declares it's time to go. Jordan says that Nikki is not in a hospital and the seizure was merely a ruse to get them there. Lady, we didn't come here to play games, Victor says, getting threatening. This isn't scaring Jordan, who tells him this is as serious as a heart attack. She adds they all just drank poison in their water bottles, and it will be her pleasure to stand there and watch them die. When they head for the door, they discover it's locked. Jordan repeats that she and Claire will stand there and watch them die. Just then, Claire drags Cole in. Victoria instantly recognizes him. Claire, addressing Victoria, says, "He had to be here for the family reunion, didn't he, Mother?"